Shoot.
So, if you could just talk about your foundation of yoga journey in few words.
I don't know what you mean by journey, but it was a joy. It was absolute delight. It connected me back with something that I had to give up for a long time. So I have been a very avid yoga asana and especially Adi Yogasana, Hatha Yoga practitioner earlier, and then I had to switch. I had to completely give that up, and then I was only doing my Kriya and meditation for the last 3 years, and it had affected so my physical health had gotten affected because of this. So it was just lovely to actually discover that I could get back to doing my asanas quite easily. I had been doing some physiotherapy and stuff, so I think that helped also, but nothing is as joyful as getting back to doing asanas and learning pranayams. And I think some of the theory that got covered just made it complete. And the whole experience with the whole group was sheer joy. That's the only word I have, sheer joy.
Mm-hmm. Great. But if I may ask, since you said you're already into Hatha Yoga and you see and all, what made you sign up for this program?
There are many things in life I do on pure instinct, intuition, whatever you call it. So when Garima sent me this information, and in fact, she had said, okay, see, we are starting this, and if you feel like joining in, especially for the theory classes, it'll be lovely to have you. So she actually didn't send it to me asking me to sign up. But because I've been wanting to get back to practice, and because I know Sandeep and I know Garima, and I know their approach to this whole practice of yoga, all of it. So there was just something inside me which said, why don't I just sign up for it? Not come once or twice, but let me just sign up for it, because something just seemed right. So I was operating on pure instinct. I don't have a reason. And I'm very happy that I did that.
Yeah. So what are the parts of the program that if you could highlight a few and say this is something that I really liked, or
all of it. I cannot pinpoint this more than that. Absolutely not. I think if I have to pinpoint one part of it, I think it's the design and the way they held the container. So it's the larger piece that I think was, because what was taught is what is taught in whatever variations anywhere, right? Any good yoga course will teach you all this. It's the way it was held and the way the design was flowed. I think that made it so special.
True. And for me, it was this the Nididhyasanams and the research and all, which really I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Because so like that,
yeah.
Which part of the program impacted you and how?
That's what I'm saying. It's very hard for me to separate them out. I think it was all of it. I loved the asanas because, the whole joy of going back to that state of, even if it is like brief, like infinitesimal moment of no mind when you're in that asana, it's sheer joy. The pranayam was beautifully taught. The theory classes, the way that the theory was explained, the different types of yogas, and doing the Nididhyasana, I completely agree with you. I think that's what I'm saying, the whole container and the design. So the Nididhyasana being part of the design, which is something that maybe not everybody does, which was very different. Yeah, so all that was great. I think the way the community got built was beautiful. So I really cannot say this impacted me more than that. I think it was the whole package, honestly.
I don't know whether I should be asking you this because you've already, I think, enrolled into, the yoga instructor and you're doing your MSc and also it's moot, but yet I would want to ask you, how else are you planning to kind of apply what you have learned and sustain it? And because you're already doing so many things like related to it, but yet I want you to kind of add on if you can give me something more.
Sure. Well, so let me, so I did not join this to learn something new. I joined it to visit what I already knew. And so the whole idea of joining it was so that I get back to one part of the yoga practice which I had lost. So yes, I intend to continue that. And besides the studying part of it, which is MSc, etc., I think the way I'm going to continue it is actually start teaching. Because I don't even need to wait for my YIC to finish to start teaching. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I have my RYT 200, which I did 5 years ago. But at that time, I did not do it to teach. I did it because I wanted to understand what I was learning better. Because for me, it's always important to get the bigger context. It can't be just a practice. And in the classes, you only basically learn some of the asanas and some pranayama, whatever. You don't really understand the theory of it. So right. I signed up for the yoga teacher training so that I could understand this whole business better, of why I'm doing it, how I'm supposed to do it. Am I doing it right? Is there more? But I think now what has changed is, so I never really taught anybody. I learned it for my own sake. I used it. Then I ended up with this stupid back injury. And then everything went for a toss. But except for my meditation and Kriya, which was actually not related to this Hatha Yoga core practice. But now I think that what has changed is that I plan to teach also. Already did that one class on breathing. So, doing some things around yoga and some things which are core yoga. So all of that. And I think I'm going to bring in what I'm learning about yoga therapy into my work, because that allows me to combine my identity as a doctor back in, which is another thing I have left far behind in terms of practice. But I think the identity never goes away. So I think this is going to allow me to bring back the practice of working with people and working with health and sickness, both.
Yeah. And it would be a wonderful combination. Wonderful combination, truly.
I don't know. It excites me that I can actually do that, because the MSc is going to give me that in a much deeper way, the yoga therapy. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Great. And any challenges you faced during the program that you overcame, and if you could share that?
I think the challenge was initially when I started, my back pain was still there, and in fact I couldn't do all the asanas required. In fact, I remember the very first class I sat out of the Sukshma Vyayams, a couple of them, because I said my back hurts, which is so basic, and so subtle. But I think just doing this 6-week course and the way it progressed slowly, and just getting aligned with the breathing and the everything together, I think I was fine by the end. I mean, I could do everything. My back pain had gone down quite a bit. It's still there, but not completely disappeared, but it's actually relieved it. So in fact, if you ask me what is the one highlight, I didn't answer it then, but now I'm getting the answer, is this thing which they've brought in, which is also what the S Vyasa brings in, which is to bring all the koshas together while you're doing every practice. Even if it's a asana practice, how can you work with all your koshas together? I think that was something that I had not learned anywhere before. And I think that was quite game-changing for me in how I did it. I think I did it instinctively, But to do it with the knowledge gives you more power over it, because now you'll never not do it. When you do it instinctively, you can forget. And no doubt that's how I ended up injuring myself, because I must have forgotten that this is how I should have done it. But knowing it now is a whole different, it's a game changer. Really, it's a game changer.
Correct. Yeah, true. Very, very aware now as to what we are doing and how we are doing it.
Exactly.
And I'm very mindful also. True. Very true. Great. So any message or any thing that you want to share with other participants who are curious about FoY and who are just kind of debating whether they should take up FoY or any Sanjeevani program? So anything that you would like to kind of reach out to them in any way possible?
I think my message would be that you will not regret it. It will only change your life for the better. And I think this is something that one should make the time for. It is we spend so much of our time looking at the outside and the external world, and really we should be paying attention to who we are and paying attention to our internal world, and whether it's health or everything. I mean, I think this is yoga is something that I think is quite incomparable with most other practices. I personally don't know any. Maybe there are something else out there, but as a doctor and as a medical person also, I can say that this is something that it's the least one can do, to invest, if it's these 6-8 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever it is. Even if you do that much and you continue practicing that, I think one's life will only take a turn for the better. And in all ways, I think it will affect. It's not just about physical health, but mental, spiritual, and I think therefore the well-being and how you are in the external world as well. So I think it's the first step towards being successful outside, is actually to take the first step towards working with yourself inside. Not bad. That's a good quote.
Yeah, it is. Yes. So that's a great one. So thank you so much, Vasundhara.
Thank you for asking, for doing this like this. Otherwise, I find it impossible. Yeah.